would kill for money all the birds of the sea. Drown in the black gold for our refineries. We would kill for money animals in the trees. Say we have to do it for the economy.
Thank you for coming to defend our coast. There are rallies happening all across BC like this right now. I think there's 60 of them planned for across BC right now to follow up on the great protest in Victoria on Monday. There were thousands of people there. There were at least 5,000 people there because the crowd cycled. Some of the speakers were Maud Barlow spoke. She was wonderful. Elizabeth May spoke. She was wonderful. Rex Weiler spoke. He was great. Art Starrett spoke, and he was wonderful. There was a whole representation. There must have been at least 100 First Nations leaders there from across northern BC, and several of them spoke, and they drummed and they halted a great big salmon, and it was great. They found out that being at the legislature and sitting down and all that, none of that would be illegal, but if we drove a stake into the lawn, that would be illegal. So we all wanted to do something that was over the line, that was illegal. That's what we went there to do. And so we were organized into groups we called waves, and each of us had a section about 12 feet long of black cloth on stakes. And it formed a giant banner 250 meters long. It went right around the legislature grounds. And that banner represented the length of a medium-sized Aframax tanker, the kind that would go up the Douglas Channel. We walked in with these and we walked around the front of the crowd, and that was a heck of an experience, let me tell you. We're walking along and there's thousands of people, and the people right beside us there are so friendly and warm and say, go, we're doing it, we're together, we're here, we're gonna stop this. And it was such a wonderful energy. It was great, and I'm just grinning away. And then at the appointed time, we started whacking down the stakes into the lawn so that we could get arrested. And Tom was there, and we had these rubber mallets, and it was going boink, boink, boink. Nothing was happening, boink, boink. And then Tom saw one guy had a small metal sledge, and this guy was going tap, 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 and Tom said, "Give me that." And he bang, bang, and he started driving the stakes. He went all the way down the line and drove. He should have been arrested 12 times, you know. So, and I think that movement is growing. We're in a movement that is growing. It is a movement that is turning around Canada and saying, we are not going to sell out our environment for jobs or profits. Our environment must come first.
One of the things that I think Harper should do is perhaps change his name. I think he should change his name to Hacker, because he's taking the axe to a whole lot of environmental legislation and organizations that are doing really important work in this country. And one of them is the National Roundtable on the Environment and the Economy. And last week they came out with one of their final reports in which they said the world is moving to a low-carbon economy. That means we have to transition off of fossil fuels. And in that report, they also said that Canada, because of all of this reliance on developing the tar sands and fracking for natural gas and shipping it to Asia, we were falling behind in the green economy. If we don't get started on building this green economy, we will be buying solar panels from somebody else when we could be doing it ourselves.
Last summer, Nelson City Council voted to oppose the Enbridge pipeline, and we were thrilled that they did. And Candace Matiki brought forward the motion. I'd like Candace to come forward and say a few words. Councillor Candace Matiki.
The resolution that we passed at City Council in the summertime was based on the language of a resolution that was going to the Union of BC Municipalities. And at the end of September, I went along with all the mayor and council here to Victoria. And it was my first UBCN meeting, and boy, I learned a lot. It was pretty fascinating. And so we were there for Resolution A8, which was the resolution to oppose any projects. And I wanted to get the wording right, because it's not just an anti-gateway pipeline resolution. It's about tanker traffic on our coast, and so really it's about protecting our coast and all the incredible values of our coast that we all care so deeply about. And I can see lots of the signs here really speaking to that. And so the resolution was to oppose any project that would lead to increased oil tanker traffic on our coast. And that resolution passed, I think it was 51.3% in favor. And some people have talked about that and said, well, that was kind of a squeaker, you know, and I can tell you, being on the conference floor and voting for that, it felt like a squeaker. In fact, they have this system where they have a show of hands, but if it's too close for the show of hands, then they have these little electronic clicker things. And so, you know, we showed the hands, and the guy said, oh, no, we got to go to the clickers. And so there was all this drama and tension, and oh, what's going to happen here? And then it did go through, but I think even though it was close, that's a very broadly worded resolution. You know, that's talking about Kinder Morgan, that's talking about, you know, anything else, some of the other gateway pieces down in the coast, down in the lower mainland. So I think it's actually a pretty strong signal, and I was really happy that that resolution has been passed. Even if the Energy Board approves it, this thing is dead in the water. That's from a very conservative person. And secondly, in the Financial Post, I love this headline. This is just a couple days ago. Headline, Northern Gateway dead as Enbridge had no grasp of BC reality.
The newspapers said that the demonstration in Victoria was against the Northern Gateway, and it wasn't. It was against big oil that wants to ship bitumen. Don't ever make the mistake that it's crude oil. It's not. It's tar. It's that stuff that's out there on the street without the little rocks in it. And it's abrasive. Another thing I want to talk about, to me this has become more than that. I went on a thing called the Healing Walk in Fort McMurray, and I won't try and describe for any of you that haven't been to the tar sands what they look like. You can read Tolkien's books. It's the land of Mordor, and people call it that. It's the land of Mordor. And those indigenous people up there, they're being steamrolled by oil in Alberta. It's a human crime against these people, and that's the feeling I got across Highway 16. And I've made some friends amongst First Nations people, and I had no idea. I didn't understand.
And we all know that just a couple of years ago in 2010, there was a major spill on the Kalamazoo River in Michigan. We all know about that, right? It cost them $800 million so far to clean it up. They said, "Oh, we're done. We got it. It's all. We got some local people here to tell Congress in the United States that everything's clean. There are more fish than ever. It's awesome." On the same day, the Environmental Protection Agency said, "Go back to work. There's blobs of oil floating up on the river. There's 48 miles of that river still polluted, the bottom of that river." And they've already spent $800 million on that. They will never clean it up. Never. Cannot be done. Only 10 to 15% of this bitumen can actually be reclaimed. The rest, 85 to 90%, stays in our environment, poisoning our environment, poisoning us, poisoning the fish, poisoning the animals. We won't stand for that, am I right? Yeah. And the reality is, we know that what Christy Clark is saying is, you know, the BC takes all the risks and gets none of the rewards. And so she wants to see Alberta share some of the profit from these pipelines with BC. But you know what? No amount of money can pay for the damage that these pipelines will cause, not only to our oceans, but to our mountains, our rivers, and streams.